Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Halfway through the college football season, want to start checking in on some of these true freshmen that we talked about in the summer and highlighting some of the true freshmen who have really taken the college football landscape by storm. Many of you guys know I'm a huge recruiting nerd, love following some of these high schoolers that are heading to the college football landscape, and there's nowhere else to start than what Rueben Bain has done for the Miami Hurricanes. This is a guy, a lot of OG Miami listeners, you guys remember us talking about Rueben Bain in the late summer, early fall months, is a guy that making a lot of noise in spring practice, making a lot of noise in fall camp. Rueben Bain has been even better than advertised for the Miami Hurricanes. And I was thinking, when is the last time we've seen a true freshman on the defensive line come into college football and dominate the way Rueben Bain has dominated the last couple weeks? The name that came to my mind, Will Anderson, who was the first non-quarterback drafted last year in the 2023 NFL draft. And I get that as lofty expectations for Rueben Bain, but from what you've seen from him as a true freshman, like that's exactly what it looks like. And it's rare to have these true freshmen, 18-year-old kids come on a college football field and dominate and kind of manhandle people up front. Rueben Bain, that's what he's been doing. One of my favorite freshmen of that class. Really excited to get into what he's been doing well. Now, before we do, again, I just want to say thank you to you guys, and especially the Miami Hurricane fans. This is a team we've talked a lot on the football field. We always follow on the transfer portal and on the recruiting trail. You guys always show a ton of love. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate y'all rocking with the boys. We got a few other Miami Hurricane true freshmen to talk about in this series as well. But let's get into Rueben Bain. And the first thing I want to know with Rueben Bain, what I think is really special, is not only is he arguably the best defender on the Miami Hurricanes. And that, I mean, I don't say that lightly. Like, you have Leonard Taylor, who might be a first-round NFL draft pick. You have Cam Kitchens, who might be a first-round NFL draft pick. Rueben Bain might be playing like the best player on the Hurricanes defensive side of the football. And more importantly than that, you talk about, and we've talked about, the culture change that is happening under Mario Cristobal on this Hurricanes team. And you asked to pinpoint, what is one of those players that is going to kind of stimulate that and get it going? As a Michigan fan, that was Aiden Hutchinson for us. For a Miami fan, I think it's going to be Rueben Bain. This is a guy that's coming from Miami Central, state championship high school team. He's not used to losing. You see on the football field when they lost to North Carolina, when they lost to Georgia Tech, how frustrated he got when he's losing football games. You talk about bringing that winning culture, that winning work ethic. Rueben Bain, you hear the stories. After practice, working on dummies, working on his technique, the crazy numbers he puts up in the weight room. Before we even get into what Rueben Bain is bringing on the football field, I think we got to talk about the culture change that he is going to help take place in this Miami Hurricanes roster. Now, getting to what he's done on the football field, it's absolutely silly, especially the last couple of weeks, what you've seen from Rueben Bain. Wash back the North Carolina tape, wash back the Clemson tape. And I will say this, Clemson has a pretty solid offensive line. They can run the football. They can pass pro. Rueben Bain made those tackles look like goofballs out there. You take a look at some of the numbers, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hurries, a 24% pass rush win rate, and a forced fumble. Rueben Bain is elite at getting after the passer, and it really starts, and he's not the biggest frame. Doesn't have the 34-inch arms, but he's a guy that plays with a low pad level, extremely powerful. You see those weight numbers translate to the football field. He gets inside of tackles and just absolutely ragdolls them right into the back of the quarterback. And on top of that, he has an elite motor. This is a guy that played 62 snaps against Clemson. That's the most on the defensive line for the Hurricanes. The next even closest was Leonard Taylor at 55. And he just plays so hard every single rep. 2 sacks. One of those sacks was kind of just an effort sack, right? Where he's just a dog on the bone, being relentless, getting after the quarterback. You guys can see I got maybe take a chill. Rueben Bain really does fire me up when you turn on the film for him. And again, to think that he is only a true freshman with so much levels to kind of increase his game, that's what has to excite you the most. You look at what he's done as a pass rusher throughout the whole first half of the season, again, as a true freshman, 5 sacks, 15 hurries, an 18.5% pass rush win rate. For people who might not be familiar with that stat, that is basically when you're rushing the passer, how many times are you winning and creating pressures and creating quarterback hurries, creating sacks. 18.5%. That is higher than most 2023 or 2024 NFL draft picks. And he's doing that as a true freshman. And to be honest, like, they were kind of just dipping his toes in the first couple of games. And I think the coaching staff looked at his performance and said, we can't afford to not let this guy be our starter. And he's emerged as, again, I think, the best player on this Hurricanes defense. And that's arguable. I get that. But that's how good I think Rueben Bain is. And the next thing I want to highlight, and this is something we talked about when we were highlighting Rueben Bain in the offseason, he's elite against the run too. He's third on the Miami Hurricanes defense in stop rate against the run. He's a guy that wins at the point of attack, is very, very good at block deconstruction, getting off of blocks and making tackles. Again, you see in the run game, the motor that he plays with, the relentless pursuit he has, that benefits him, not only getting after the pass, but also stopping the run. And a lot of his production and his value to this Miami Hurricanes defense doesn't necessarily show on the stats that I just read. That shows that he's winning and doing his thing. But Rueben Bain, what I think he brings the most is the relentless effort that he has. I remember a rep where Clemson throws a little bubble screen out. He sees it. A lot of defensive ends just going to be jogging behind that play immediately, but just puts his head down, books it to the sideline, makes the tackle on the wide receiver for a no-game play. And that's the type of stuff that you want to see from a guy that I think is going to be a team captain, culture changer for the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I know I wanted to highlight Rueben Bain, but for Miami fans, what has to excite you so much is Rueben Bain's not the only one in this freshman class that is really making an impact for the Hurricanes. We talked about it. This 2023 class was going to be special for Mario Cristobal in terms of turning around this program. Your number one recruit in the class is starting at tackle as a true freshman. Again, it is rare to see freshmen come in and start immediately along the lines of scrimmage, whether it's offense, whether it's defense. Francis Mauigoa, although there's been some growing pains, him at tackle, he's been holding up extremely well. He is going to be an All-American caliber tackle for the Hurricanes down the road. Mario Cristobal says it time and time again. You look at a guy like Mark Fletcher, I know he's been struggling with injury. He's going to be a massive playmaker. And I would argue the other running back, Chris Johnson, going to be a guy too for the Hurricanes. Going down the list, Riley Williams starting to emerge as a tight end target. And then let's talk about Emory Williams, who just beat Clemson as a true freshman. The first time the Canes have beaten Clemson in some sort of a decent amount of time. And Emory Williams, true freshman quarterback, was the quarterback to do it. And I know there's a lot of progression for Emory Williams to be had, but that speaks to the gamer that Emory Williams was. I mean, this was a team that was down 10 in the fourth quarter. Emory Williams made some big-time throws, some big-time reps. If you're a Hurricanes fan, you look at that 2022 class, and a lot of guys are just having trouble finding playing time because this is a really talented team. You got to feel good about what this class is going to be in terms of changing the narrative of what this Miami Hurricanes program is. And for me, when I look at it, it starts with Rueben Bain, a guy that is absolutely dominating as a true freshman. Love everything about this kid. Again, not necessarily, and this is probably why you look at the recruiting rankings, and this is, I think, a mistake a lot of recruiting analysts make. Only the 71st national player, and that's, I mean, high 4-star. But I think the mistake is, 6'3", 275, not sure what position he's going to play. Is he going to play inside or outside? Doesn't have that length that the NFL loves. This is a guy that dominated at the high school level and has started to dominate as a true freshman at the college level. He is a very good football player, an exceptional football player, and going to be part of a massive turnaround for the Hurricanes. You guys know how fired up I am about Rueben Bain. We're going to be touching on a few more Miami true freshmen as this kind of series, we build it out. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys again. The Miami fans, you guys always show a ton of love to the fellas. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.